For 5 weeks, we've been talking about what education is in the U.S., how it's developed to the point it is today, and the fact, perhaps the most important fact, that it's constantly changing. The fixes are up to you, but what we've done is created a foundation of information for you to build those fixes on. One is an acknowledgement of what we naturally do. We learn and we adapt. So that's something that humans do. What are some things that humans want?
To be acknowledged.
Interactions.
Community, acknowledgement.
Success.
So what does that mean?
Any form, as long as you thrive, like you said, you get thrown in the jungle, you want to go hunt, you want to be successful, you get the food, you want to learn.
Thriving, yeah.
To have meaning. Like
Meaning. What is knowledge without meaning? So now we have human beings who are all plopped down on one continent, and we called it the U.S. What were the ideas that our educational systems have been based on, that are working out of this human reality? What are the warrants?
Hard work is success. Schools should have like a role in like building a nation.
Hard work. All people participate. Schools have a role in nation building, preparing our citizens. Anything else that we value as a nation?
Equality.
Equality.
How can we say that equality is an ideal of education when we have like schools getting funded based on their property taxes and stuff like that, and like justice being an ideal of education when we have like a school to prison pipeline industry happening?
Absolutely. Ideas, values are always perfect. It's what we're striving for. And plans are always principle, meaning you're going from values to applications. And then applications are always flawed. There's no such thing as a perfect plan. Yeah.
But when you say we, who are you referring to when what we're striving toward? Because clearly there is a source of control in this country.
Right, absolutely. And that's an important part of, that's an American value too, is the idea of diversity. That when we say we are talking about a melting pot. What makes you an American is not your creed or your ethnicity, your background, your monetary status or your social status. It's the values.
But then if people are taking advantage of the system or whatever it is, then it's like they might not necessarily believe in it, right?
Absolutely. But the thing is, even the people who actively resist it in application still preach it as an ideal. And that is if we are talking about what are solutions for education, that's important to remember. That you can always call somebody out on their hypocrisy if you know the ideals that they're building on. Because you will still hear these ideals coming out of the mouths of people who are trying to take people's rights and equality away.
But
that's a tool. If you do believe in equality, why are you actively taking voting rights away from certain people? If you do believe in this, why are you doing this? When you put people on the hot seat like that, you are pressing for change. The kind of change that you want.
okay, our education system is very mono-centered around like one perspective. Like we tend to teach a very nationalistic perspective, which doesn't allow a lot of room for people to be globally informed.
And should people be more globally informed?
Yes.
And is education something that changes based on the history that we've looked at?
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. So let's keep on working through this list and building it out so that you have a foundation for making change in the U.S. bit by bit. What is the plan for education? Universal? Compulsory? Now, Ashley, can you tell me exactly what compulsory means?
It's like when you're forced to do it.
Okay, you're forced to. And why?
Because we believe that schools play a role in nation building.
Boom! Exactly. From idea to plan to application. So that's the plan. What are our applications? And when we're getting into here, let's get a little rosy, because we could totally get lost in all the way things go wrong. What are the ways that things go right? And somebody in the other class pointed out that even when things do go wrong, like tests, that doesn't mean that tests are bad. It just means that they're being used in a way that's not healthy. So, applications. Desegregation, right? That's a good one. 2 buses coming in. One from the rich side of town, one from the poor side of town, but everybody gets the same education. That's fair. That's American. I like that.
Like hands-on activities, like field trips.
Individual attention.
Via television or something else, just like video games.
Outside, labs, media, games. Sending kids into the world with a camera and seeing what they come back with. And then let's talk about it.
This is kind of lofty, but democracy?
That is way up in the ideas, definitely lofty. Can you tell me what you mean by democracy in hands-on application in school?
This like provides people a setting to have conversations with others.
When we talk about schooling, we're talking about how we corral human interactions toward educational ends.
Well, in one of my high school classes, the teacher had us do the Socratic seminars. Like everyone put their desks in a circle and it discussed.
I like that you use grades as like a conversation, so if we don't disagree with something, you're giving us the opportunity to dispute it.
Right? Just places where the word is not final and there's development. This is a half-baked idea. Let's see if we can develop it.
Like in high school, you had to do like community service hours.
Service-oriented. Yeah, go out into the community.
I have a question real quick. For the Sean's numbers thing, like what, I love like how the teacher went about that, like the whole debate thing, but what do you say at the end of that? Because like we've been taught like even or odd or like those kind of things, like
What do you say at the end of a lesson that has been based on development? Who's going to ask the right questions that help them to develop deeper learning? Is it going to be that kid or the kid who memorized this is odd, this is even, here's how you do it on a number line, odd, even, odd, even? Which one of them has a healthier educational foundation? That's what you say at the end. You're welcome. Keep thinking. And then responses. What do you see as a human response in people when they have gone through quality educational encounters?
They question things like critically,
Questions. Curiosity.
They
confidence.
go on to teach it.
Confidence. Teaching others.
Creativity and imagination.
They're expressive.
Excited.
Excited!
Be open-minded.
they're eager for change.
Like once you're outside of the classroom and you just learn something, and you're like, oh, that's an example of that.
Application.
Yeah. You see things differently when you've learned something, when you've been given a little bit of perspective. Okay, this is a good solid list and it's something for you to add to and personalize as you see fit. And then when we talk about the habits that come out of that, just to make clear, we are talking about that big fuzzy word that I like to symbolize as just a cup of yogurt. Culture. And that's something that we are fed by throughout your education and that you're now going to go out into this world and be feeding into. And my only encouragement in whatever way you do that is to remember people make sense. There's no such thing as a kid who hates math. There's a kid who has had negative math experiences. There's no such thing as a kid who hates writing. There are kids who have been told that they are not good at writing and they've given up on it. There's no such thing as a non-artistic kid. There are kids who were asked to stop doodling in class at a very young age. And if you want to find a way to get a learner pumped about it, people make sense. And if things aren't going the way you want it to, change the environment and see how the interaction changes. Because we are adaptive creatures. And if you set up a different situation, change happens.